get down to business, and that is the media pretty much trying to give excuses for Nafisa Collier, Cheryl Reeve, and this whole damn team with losing this Commissioner Cup. Now, we know the Indiana Fever is way past this game. They don't give a damn. They won. They got their money. The Las Vegas Aces. So they turned the page and moved on. Now, the WNBA media is trying to say that the Indiana Fever was too physical. Oh, my God. The referees messed up so bad. They messed up so bad in this game that it was just too damn.
Basketball analysts and media personalities have initiated extensive discussions regarding the Indiana Fever's Commissioner Cup championship victory over the Minnesota Lynx, with particular focus on the physical nature of the contest and its impact on the game's outcome. Various podcasts and sports commentary platforms have examined the strategic elements that contributed to Minnesota's unexpected defeat, analyzing both tactical decisions and execution issues that arose during the championship game. The comprehensive nature of Indiana's victory has prompted detailed breakdowns of what went wrong for the heavily favored Lynx organization.
To what she said right here, because this is important.
Guys, I just know everybody in the league is sick.
I just know everybody in the league is sick.
They're pissed.
Aaliyah Boston, they pissed. Like they.
Guys, I just know everybody in the league is sick.
I just know everybody in the league is sick. Like, straight up, that is crazy. That is.
Pre-game expectations heavily favored Minnesota, with informal polling showing approximately 95% of respondents predicting a Lynx victory. This overwhelming consensus reflected the general perception that Minnesota possessed superior talent and recent success compared to an Indiana team missing their star player. The dramatic shift in momentum during the second quarter became a primary focus of post-game analysis. Minnesota's scoring drought, lasting nearly 8 minutes during the second quarter, represented an unprecedented collapse for a team known for offensive consistency and championship-level execution.
In this game, that it was just too damn physical for the Minnesota Aces, which is playing the Minnesota Lynx playing the Indiana Fever. Oh, the referees just let them do all type of stuff. Oh, man, it was just too physical for them. Now, Nafisa Collier was getting fouled. Aaliyah Boston was just doing too much. Now, when the same thing happens to the Indiana Fever, don't nobody say nothing. Oh, this is how it is. All the Indiana Fever fans always.
Statistical analysis revealed that Minnesota managed only a 20-error run disadvantage when accounting for halftime adjustments and early third-quarter play. This extended period of offensive futility directly contradicted the team's established identity and seasonal performance patterns. Commentary has centered on the physicality employed by Indiana's front-court players, particularly Aaliyah Boston and Natasha Howard. Their aggressive defensive approach appeared to disrupt Minnesota's typical offensive flow and rhythm, creating frustration that carried throughout the contest.
That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy thing to say. But you know what? You know what? She said it. She said it. And that's, you know what? It's a good thing that she said it there. Because let's be real, Sophie Cunningham went and said it, and people were like, "Oh, Sophie, people aren't scared of you. People aren't scared of Fever." And you know what? At least the Indiana Fever team are going to go and say it. At least they are.
Nafisa Collier's performance became a significant talking point as the MVP candidate managed only 12 points in an uncharacteristic showing. Her shooting struggles and apparent frustration with physical contact marked a notable departure from her typically composed and dominant performances. Coaching strategies received considerable attention, with analysts praising Stephanie White's game plan and tactical adjustments. The defensive scheme employed by Indiana successfully neutralized Minnesota's strengths while exploiting weaknesses that had not been previously exposed this season.
I say nothing. Oh, this is how it is. All the Indiana Fever fans always complaining. Oh, my God, they whiners. Oh, man, they always trying to say the ref. Now, we know the referees is always playing a factor. The referees is always doing something to make this juncture not run smoothly. Well, in this case, I know what Stephanie White's game plan was. Stephanie White's game plan was to go into this damn game and do what other teams do to them back to them. And that, my friends, was the biggest element of surprise.
The element of surprise proved crucial in Indiana's approach, as Minnesota appeared unprepared for the level of physical intensity and defensive pressure applied throughout the contest. This tactical advantage allowed the Fever to establish early momentum and maintain control despite missing key personnel. Officiating discussions emerged as analysts debated whether physical play crossed acceptable boundaries or represented legitimate defensive strategies. The interpretation of contact and foul calls became part of broader conversations about game management and competitive standards.
Are going to go and say it. At least they are going and saying it. At least they're running with that, by the way. But if you guys don't know, the best thing for the Indiana Fever is that they think everybody hates them. The best thing is that they think everybody hates them. Like, you've got Sid Colson out here. Caitlin, we're still in like 7th place in the standings, but we'll get it up. We're going to get it up. Like, first of all, for the Fever, I'm going to talk about what this means in a video later.
Defensive performance analysis highlighted Indiana's most complete effort of the season, with multiple players contributing to limiting Minnesota's scoring opportunities. The collective defensive intensity represented a significant improvement from previous performances against elite competition. Three-point shooting struggles plagued Minnesota throughout the contest, with the team managing only 25% accuracy from beyond the arc. This poor perimeter shooting performance contrasted sharply with their seasonal averages and typical offensive
it had to have been for the Minnesota Lynx, because they wasn't expecting a physical, gut-wrenching basketball game, and Natasha Howard and Aaliyah Boston put it on them. Well, there is a podcast, there is footage going around of WNBA reporters basically controlling this narrative, trying to say that the Indiana Fever is too physical of a basketball team. Watch this footage, guys.
But with that news, Indiana Fever became a complete underdog, and I think
ball movement and offensive flow issues compounded Minnesota's difficulties, as their typically crisp passing and pick-and-roll execution became stagnant and predictable. The departure from their established offensive principles contributed significantly to the scoring drought. Individual matchup problems arose as Indiana's defensive schemes successfully targeted key Minnesota players, preventing them from establishing comfortable offensive rhythm. The specific attention paid to neutralizing primary threats proved effective throughout crucial stretches.
First of all, for the Fever, I'm going to talk about what this means in a video later. But I think that having the attitude of everybody is against you in sports works. It does. It straight up works. Because if you guys don't know, like, when it comes to this, there's a prime example of a manager and basically a football manager whose whole thing back when they were super successful was they were able to basically get their
Psychological factors appeared to influence Minnesota's performance, with frustration mounting as physical play and defensive pressure continued. The mental aspect of handling adversity became apparent as the game progressed and deficit increased. Bench contributions from Indiana players like Michaela Timms provided valuable minutes during critical moments, adding to the physical intensity and defensive pressure applied to Minnesota's key players. These role player contributions amplified the overall team effort.
But with that news, Indiana Fever became a complete underdog, and I think everybody was counting them out. I put a poll, a very low stakes, a poll on my Instagram stories where I'm like, hey guys, this is what's happening. Who's gonna win? 95% of the people chose the Lynx, and I think we were all thinking that. And at the beginning of the game, that's what I kind of started off by saying. It looked like that. That was the runner-up last season Lynx, the defense. How many shot clock violations?
Strategic adjustments throughout the game demonstrated Indiana's coaching staff ability to identify and exploit Minnesota's vulnerabilities in real time. The tactical flexibility proved superior to Minnesota's counter adjustments and problem-solving attempts. Shot selection and offensive patience became problematic for Minnesota as frustration led to questionable decision-making and rushed attempts. The departure from their typically disciplined offensive approach contributed to extended scoring difficulties. Rebounding and second-chance opportunities favored Indiana through their physical approach and aggressive pursuit of loose balls. This fundamental advantage provided additional possessions while limiting Minnesota's offensive opportunities.
Basically, get their teams together and have their teams so close together because they knew everybody hated them. This coach would have the most absolute hated teams ever. But the difference was that when you're hated and you know you're hated, it can bring your team together and you can win. And it was Jose Mourinho. So if you guys don't know about Jose Mourinho's Chelsea team,
transition defense and fast break prevention helped Indiana control game pace and prevent Minnesota from utilizing their speed and athleticism advantages. The ability to limit easy scoring opportunities proved crucial in maintaining competitive advantage. Communication and defensive coordination reached optimal levels for Indiana, enabling complex schemes and adjustments that successfully disrupted Minnesota's offensive sets. The collective defensive effort represented significant improvement from earlier seasonal performances. Momentum management became a critical factor as Indiana successfully built and maintained advantages while preventing Minnesota from establishing sustained offensive runs. The psychological aspect of momentum proved as important as tactical execution.
How many shot clock violations did the Fever have? It was, Nafisa Collier was getting her jumper. She had the touch, the turnaround shot. And then the worst thing happened was the first quarter ended for the Minnesota Lynx. That was the worst thing for that buzzer to sound. The second quarter was a completely different story. They went on an 18-0. If you count after halftime, coming back in, it was 20-0 run by the Fever.
Performance under pressure revealed character differences between the teams, with Indiana rising to the occasion while Minnesota struggled to respond to adversity. These competitive qualities often determine outcomes in high-stakes competition. Historical context places this upset among significant tournament surprises, particularly given the disparity in seasonal records and pre-game expectations. The comprehensive nature of the victory adds to its significance within championship competition. Media narrative shifts reflect the unexpected outcome, with analysts adjusting their assessments of both teams' capabilities and potential. The victory provides new talking points and storylines for the remainder of the season.
Jose Mourinho. So if you guys don't know about Jose Mourinho's Chelsea team, they played some of the ugliest football ever. Everyone hated them. Absolutely everybody hated Jose Mourinho's Chelsea. Everyone hated Jose Mourinho's Inter Milan. Everyone hated Jose Mourinho's Real Madrid. But the thing is that he was able to to bring the team together. He was able to get the team together on the basis of everybody hates us, so let's let them hate us. Let's let them hate us. It's everyone against us. We don't have any friends in this league. We don't have any friends on other teams.
Player development and confidence-building benefits emerged for Indiana's roster, particularly younger players who gained valuable experience performing under pressure against elite competition. These experiences accelerate individual and team growth processes. Tactical innovations and defensive schemes employed by Indiana could influence future game planning across the league. The successful neutralization of elite offensive players provides blueprints for other teams facing similar challenges. Competitive balance discussions arise from unexpected outcomes like this championship game, demonstrating the potential for any team to achieve success with proper preparation and execution. The result validates league parity and competitive opportunity. Future implications include adjusted expectations for both teams moving forward, with Indiana gaining credibility as legitimate contenders while Minnesota faces questions about resilience and adaptation abilities.
The Fever. And the Lynx did not score for almost 8 minutes of that second quarter. That can't happen. That is crazy. And to me, and I wonder if you agree with this, because it's not necessarily that, I think their offensive flow for the Lynx side was a little, I think Courtney Williams was over dribbling sometimes. They weren't as crisp with their passes that they usually.
Championship experience provides Indiana with valuable knowledge about performing in high-pressure situations, potentially benefiting future playoff preparation and competitive situations. The psychological advantages gained from this success could prove lasting. Organizational validation emerges for Indiana's front office decisions and strategic direction, while Minnesota must evaluate their approach to handling physical opposition and adversity. These outcomes influence future personnel and tactical decisions. The Indiana Fever's Commissioner Cup Cup championship victory has illuminated underlying dynamics within the WNBA regarding team relationships and competitive psychology. Post-game comments from players have provided insight into the organizational mindset and strategic approach to handling external pressures.
League, we don't have any friends on other teams. Like we are the team that is being hunted. And it's like, if you are the ones being hunted, you have to give your best every game. And that's why I think that was a big reason why Jose Mourinho, as a coach, was so successful. He was so successful as a coach because he was able to get his teams like that. And if this Indiana Fever team is out here believing that the rest of the league doesn't like them, the rest of the league are sick, like, that is one of those things where it is a positive for a team. It is a
Caitlin Clark's remarks following the championship celebration suggested awareness of negative sentiment toward the Fever organization throughout the league. Her observation that everybody in the league is sick reflected a perception that other teams view Indiana's success with frustration and resentment. This acknowledgement of antagonistic relationships represents a significant psychological dynamic that could influence team performance and cohesion moving forward. The recognition of external hostility often serves as a unifying force within organizations, creating stronger internal bonds through shared adversity. Sports psychology research demonstrates that teams performing under perceived persecution often develop enhanced motivation and collective identity. The belief that external forces oppose organizational success can eliminate internal conflicts by redirecting competitive energy toward common opponents.
Asses that they usually are. But I think Fee got really frustrated by the refs. I think the physicality by Aaliyah Boston, by Natasha Howard, really started getting in her head.
Now, this is when their conversation take a turn for the left, because now they're finna go on record and pretty much say that, you know, the Indiana Fever was too physical. The referees wasn't calling things right. And ultimately, this is what caused the Minnesota Lynx to look the way that they.
Historical examples from professional sports illustrate how successful teams have leveraged negative external perception to create competitive advantages. Organizations that embrace their role as antagonists often maintain higher performance levels through sustained motivation and unified purpose. The psychological framework of us versus them mentality provides clear identification of opposition while simplifying competitive objectives. Teams operating under this mindset typically demonstrate improved communication, sacrifice, and commitment to collective goals over individual achievements.
Where it is a positive for a team. It is a positive for a team that they think other teams hate them. And a lot of people are like, oh, you know, it's probably better teams like you for free agents. No. Rival players want to go to the clubs that are quote unquote hated, that just keep beating their ass. Like if the Indiana Fever, I don't think they're going to win a championship. I don't think they've got the talent level to win a championship. But if the Indiana Fever go and maybe not win a championship, but they go and make it to the semifinals, they go and make it to the finals, someone that they beat along.
Jose Mourinho's coaching philosophy exemplified this approach throughout his career with various European football clubs. His teams consistently achieved success despite widespread criticism and negative media coverage, utilizing external hostility as motivational fuel for championship performances. Mourinho's Chelsea, Inter Milan, and Real Madrid squads all embraced controversial playing styles and confrontational attitudes that generated significant opposition from fans, media, and rival organizations. However, these teams achieved remarkable success rates while maintaining strong internal unity.